Hi, it's Penny Bowden here. More on drawing ordinary everyday objects. Salt shaker. Now when we look at the salt shaker from the top down, we know this is round. But as it turns away from us, the top that is round becomes more oval shaped to us. So I like to kind of warm up by just getting the feel of what that shape is. You know, in the past I used to measure from here to here and make sure it was the same from here to here or wherever my oval was going to be. But I have learned over the years that intuition is the best thing to guide you. So what I like to do is just start by getting a feel for that top. So I just want to get a feel for the shape of that top before I put pen to paper. Rather than measuring, just let my intuition guide me, getting a feel for it. I'm a bit jittery. It's really showing here. It's because of medication, so we'll just have to bear with it. And there's always something good and something bad. If I'm a bit jittery, it ends up a bit wonky, so it shows you that it's okay that drawings are wonky. In fact, it's the wonkiness of drawings that makes them charming. It gives them your personality. It's more like your signature. You know, if it's not perfect. We don't go for perfection. We go for having fun, enjoyment, and creating something that we're proud of. Practice, pastime, relaxation. So I got the top, and I've made this line a little bit more gentle because there really isn't much of a line here. It's just to kind of guide us to where things are. And then down here it gets a little bit bumpy because of the way it screws on. Now my perspective will be a little bit different than yours. But that's okay because we're not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for character. There, I find if I press hard, my jitteriness doesn't take quite as much control of me. We don't worry about both sides being the same here because they won't be the same. The way the lid screws on the jar, it has to go around, so it can't be the same on each side exactly. You can kind of reinforce where you want it to be. Bit of suggestion for holes. You know, you can kind of complete some of them. Just let your intuition be your guide. What would you see? When you're looking at a salt shaker, you know the holes don't stand out really hard. So, it's casting kind of a neat shadow too, isn't it? Could actually make a drawing from the shadow. And then the glass comes down here a bit. And the top, this top part, will be about the same curve as this. But I'm just going to get a feel for it first. I'm just going to go for round at first, even though it's jagged, it goes around jagged. Just want to get some lines in to guide me. Oh, very faint almost. Not even letting it touch. That might be a bit wide. You can come in here. Any extra lines end up being wiggle lines. It's not about perfection. And I just kind of let my intuition guide me as to where I want this to end. I may not want it to be as long and tall of a salt shaker as it actually is. I may want it to be short and stubby. That's okay. It is taller than this, but I kind of like it here. I kind of like the style of the short stubby one. You can make them tall and stretchy or short and stubby or whatever shape you want. You don't have to make it exactly the same as the one that you see. And these lines here, these curves, would about match down here. Now it is squared off, but I'm going to start with just a curved line just to get it in the right spot. Ended up getting some of those jags in, which is good. That was mostly because of my jitteriness. And then to make it look like the design that it is, just going to set it aside now. I think you've probably seen enough of it. I'll bring it back into view later. Just to show the thicker glass on the bottom. And then those lines that go down here, which you can barely see, so we just want to give a hint of them. Even this one is pretty strong. Just kind of studying it for a minute and deciding where I want to go. Always take your time with drawing. It's not a race. There's my jittery hand again. So just a hint of those lines. I kind of like my shape there. It's not quite as rounded looking as this one is, but we can fix that. You know, we can kind of round it out. Any extra lines or double lines end up just looking like wiggle lines. Give it a bit of movement. Give it a bit of charming wonkiness. Just doing this to kind of show the thickness of the glass. You can see it's darker along the edges because of the thickness of the glass. Not going to worry about filling all this in. The broken line helps the eye bounce around. We want interesting differences in line widths and shapes. And it's all about style too. It's all about your own style. Let's put some salt in the shaker. And this is the shadow side, so I'm just gonna give it a bit of shadow. This shadow shows down more where the salt is. A bit of shadow on the table or whatever it's sitting on. And this actually, I just noticed this should have probably ended here. This part probably shouldn't be here. You should come around here. There's always something you notice in your drawings that you could have done better, because this is the shadow side. So the shadow would be on this side. Light coming from here. Just a bit of scratchy shadow. This is a very sketchy drawing. Add some wiggle lines if you want. Give it some character. Just taking a chance up here whether I should put a bit of a shadow here or not, because just to show the roundness of here. But I'm going to take the chance because I got nothing to lose. It's just a sketch, right? I don't know if I like that or not. But it's all about learning, isn't it? Add a bit more lines in there, that might fix that. I think that's as far as I'm going to take it. I'm not sure I like what I did up here, but it's all right. It's just a sketch. So practicing the everyday. I'll show you some of the other ones that I did when I decided I was going to do this lesson. I did a page full of salt shakers. And I experimented with different things. I let the line show more in this one. I didn't like it too much. I didn't like that the line was showing across here on this one. I think I put too many lines in this one. This one is alright. I feel like the lid's a bit small for the big bulky container, but that's a matter of perspective. You can see my jitteriness here. I like the top of this one the best. I think I captured that rounded look this way. And this one too. This one's got some good qualities too. I added a bit of salt here. So just have fun with it. This just shows how you can take an ordinary object that you haven't drawn before and practice until you get something that you're happy with. And above all, remember, it doesn't have to look exactly like the one that you're using for a model. It's not about that. Drawing is about having fun and relaxing and creating something with character, something that shows your personality. Your drawing is like your signature. It's you alone. And that's why I discourage people from tracing. Some people like to trace their drawing that they're going to paint, and it is, of course, it is still art because they are doing the painting part of it. But if it's not your own drawing, it lacks that character, that signature mark, that shows that it's really you. And not only that, I learned so much in drawing that transfers to painting that you're depriving yourself of a huge learning opportunity. if you just trace things that you want to paint. And I did this one this morning. I like this one. Let's compare it with this one. This one's in my sketchbook. This is a handmade sketchbook that I made myself. And the paper's kind of brown. I like it. So these two are pretty similar. I did this one beforehand, I did this one beforehand, just before I was going to do the video, so it was kind of my warm-up. The other ones I did a day or two ago. You can see my jitteriness up here and made it a little wonky. So it added some character, I guess. And this one, the one that I did for you, I think I was more jittery when I did this one. So I guess while I'm on this medication, you'll just have to bear with me for the jitteriness. It's not something I can really help, but it just also shows that you should keep it up no matter what. You can't give up on life just because of a little setback. So lots of people tell me that there's nothing to draw. There's always something to draw. Just grab an everyday object and draw if you can't think of anything else, and you might be surprised how much fun you have, especially if it turns out looking kind of cool. Draw every day. This is a good way of getting you to draw every day. Stretches you a little, and in the meantime you might discover some subjects that you really like. You could have some fun with the salt shaker. You could add another one in the background that could be the pepper shaker. The one warning there is that we know that salt and pepper shakers are generally matched. So if you don't get them so they look like they match, don't be too hard on yourself. It's not about being perfect. Just have fun with it. Don't worry so much about whether they match or not. But a good way to help them match more is when you draw the second one is to go by your model, but also go by your first drawing too, and that can help to get them looking more similar. But again, don't worry if they don't look like they're a matched pair. Just enjoy the fun of it, enjoy the wonky character that you get, and just have fun, practice, and get better. Thanks for watching.